Sorry about this game review being a little late, but this game review is on Harvestella. Um, so, let me get this one. So, Harvestella is Square Enix's version of the farming sim RPG. And for those of you that love farming sim RPGs, you are going to absolutely love this game. If you love stuff like Story of Seasons, Stardew Valley, Rune Factory, that kind of stuff, you are going to absolutely love this game. This game is definitely made for more mature audiences. The reason I say that is the story is a little bit darker than those games. So just be fair warned. It doesn't have any like sexual innuendos, but it is a lot darker, and a lot sadder. Square Enix was essentially like, hey, you want a more mature story? Let's give you sad feel time. So that's just a preemptive, you know, just be ready for that, okay? Very much so. I was not expecting that when I started to play the game, and you are abruptly given that very early on in the game. So just a fair warning. So you, of course, get your pick of characters. Now, the character models look male or female, but you can be addressed as male, female, or non binary in the game, and of course, you get to put in whatever name you want. And the female protagonist character model doesn't look very female esque, but there is the female and male protagonist body type for your character. As you can see, their weapon doesn't seem to have like a sword or a bow or whatever. That's because it forms into whatever they need it to be. And if you're wondering what I mean, I'll get into that later. But not long after awakening, because of course you pass out, you have amnesia, the normal trope. You are led by character that is the doctor. Her name is Cress. Yes, you can romance her after you beat the game. All the romanceable characters, you cannot complete their romance till after you beat the game. You can complete all of their friendship quests during the game, but you cannot romance them until after the game. But then you are led to your lovely farm. This is a farm that somebody has completed. And it looks very pretty, actually. And they have it all, like, pretty and stylized and guarded off. But you can design your farm. Now, mind you, it doesn't have this many plots when you first start it. But you can pretty much design your fields however you want them. Inside your house, you can't really design anything. That is the one downside. But your farm itself, like your plots and stuff, and where you put your makers and that kind of stuff, you can design that however you wish. You do end up getting two like barns. One is for essentially chickens. The other one is for essentially cows? Question mark. I don't know what you would call them, but the other ones are definitely like a chicken version. They're like llamas. I'm gonna equate them to llamas. They're adorable. And you can, of course, expand the coop and the barn. So you can have more of them. Highly recommended. But inside of your house... Sorry. My game is... Is it? No. Here we go. So inside of your house, you have a crafting bench. This is unlocked pretty early on, so you can make... the return bell, and also so you can make a hammer. Because you don't start with a hammer right off the bat, like in most games. You start off with a hoe and a watering can, and an axe. No, you don't need an axe. Sorry. A watering can and a hoe. And that's it. You do not start off with a hammer. You don't need an axe because you don't have to chop down trees. If you're wondering how you get wood, you just gather it at gathering points. But you do not start off with a hammer. Once you make a hammer, you don't ever need to make a hammer again. But eventually you can make repair kits and bombs, and this is how you make all of your feeders and any fences and etc. So you get to know how to use this crafting bench pretty early on, which is great. It's wonderful. You just generally have to get stuff that you can get from either enemies or from gathering points and so forth. The kitchen will cost you around $2,000, and that is how you will be able to cook things, like seen here. Once you get it made, then by the revenerator in the first town, then he'll automatically give you this first recipe, which is mountain stir fry. Recommend buying all of the recipes in all of the towns, in all 4 of the towns. Later on there's a 5th town, but definitely get all the recipes because you're going to need them. The reason I say you're going to need them is, I didn't put it in here, but give me 1 second. One of the little quests that you can do is the thing right here that you see that I'm now showing you, which is the food side quests, what I like to call it, or cooking side quest. So this, essentially, in each town, each of the inns, you'll eventually get mail saying, hey, we need more recipes. And all you have to do is make these recipes and deliver them. And they will give you a certain amount of gold, and sometimes a recipe, and sometimes some items. But there's always gold. This is one of the quickest way to make money. Another way to make money is just by doing side quests. Because you do not make a lot of money by farming or by killing things. You can make some money by farming, but your majority of your money is definitely going to come from side quests. That being said, you can make some money, like I said. Some of your money is going to definitely be coming from your side quests or from, like, making recipes and selling them. That'll be a better use of getting your money made. If you happen to hear trucks, I'm sorry. I'm at work. I don't know what to tell you. There, that shouldn't be that bad. I let him pass. Alright, so. Sorry, I've got like a hangnail, guys, that I'm trying to get rid of. So, these will definitely make you a lot of money. Also, I guess I should let you guys know about yeah, we'll go ahead and get into the characters. So these are the different characters in the game that you will meet. The first one is Aerie. You meet her pretty much within day like 2 of the game, I think. She is your best buddy. She's amazing. And as you meet each of these characters, you'll form bonds with them. You can do side quests with them. These are your friendships, and I think all except for Dithanolus, you can form a romance with them. You can even form a romance with the Dr. Cress after you beat the game. So they are lovely, lovely people. All of them have sad, sad stories. That's all I'm gonna say. I won't get into their sad stories. That is for you to find out, but they are all super sad. They all make my heart hurt, but they are lovely characters. These little red little like diamonds are how far along their friendship bonds are. And the way the game is broken down, you don't have to feel rushed. There is time when you unlock each chapter that you can just take your time and literally like do their friendship stuff. So like when you finish, for instance, Aislinn's and or Azla and Astana's area, you don't immediately have to go to Heinz and Emo's area. You can take your time and like run around and kind of do most of like Aslan's I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. You can do most of his stuff. Astana's does take a while. Hers will probably take until you get to like Baraka's stuff. Hers just takes a while. But then you can finish like Heinz and Emo's before you like get Shrika's and Baraka's like done. And like Shrika's takes almost no time at all, as to where Baraka's, I'm still working on Baraka's. Like his takes a while. I don't know why. So like certain people's takes certain like a while, as to where others takes no time at all. So just keep that in mind. And certain ones are locked behind like getting past certain chapters. But you can take your time doing the chapters. Once you've like done like all of the side quests that have popped up, literally no more side quests will pop up, and you'll know, okay, well I can't do anything until I go and finish the next chapter, because literally nothing else will pop up. The game will be like, we have nothing for you. The game is very good of, here's all this stuff, we have nothing more for you. So like definitely after you finish, like say you finish chapter 2, go and check like the first town and make sure they're like you do all of the quests in all of the side quests in that first town completely. Like check back for a couple days and then be like, okay, good, done. And then go to the next town. And then once you finish, I think that's chapter like 3A, finish that whole like thing up. Finish it completely, like, and don't just like run straight through the dungeon. That dungeon takes a couple days. But like each time you leave the dungeon, stop back at the town the next day. You will be surprised. There will be a side quest or few. And like even when you beat the dungeon, like check back in the town for a couple days. Trust me, it'll be worth it. And do the same thing for like each, because chapter 3 has like A, B, and C. So do that. I'm on like chapter 6 or 7 right now in my game. And if you're like, why are you doing a review? You haven't beaten the game. I have a pretty good handle on the game and the game mechanics and how it works in the story. And these are the only characters you get. But yes. And as you get each of these characters, you get jobs. Now, this isn't from my game, because like I said, I have everyone, but you unlock different jobs. So the first one you have is fighter, and each character unlocks a different job, because it is whatever they are in their class, or their job. So you'll unlock, when you get the Thanalis, you'll have all but 2 jobs unlocked. So, one of them I know is Samurai, you won't have unlocked. And then there's another one, which I don't know. But yes. And you have to complete, like, their stuff to get to where you can completely unlock the final part of each of those jobs. So yes, it is important to do your friends' stories. Also, it's really, really nice to see their ends to their story things. But yeah, it's also really good to like level up your whatever job you want to play as. Of course, you can multi-job. So you can have up to 3 jobs equipped, and then you can change them out at any save point. This game does use save points, and saving when you go to sleep. So, and you do have to go to sleep in this game. Like, if you stay out past, I think it's like, I want to say early morning, early hours is what it's called in the game. Too far into the early hours, the game will just knock you out. So, and Crest will take money from you. So, yes, you have to go to bed. You can use keyboard or controller if you're playing on PC. If you're playing on Switch, of course, Switch. If you're playing, I think it's on PS4 as well. But yeah, it's a fun game. I normally play with my controller because I like the controls for the controller. But it is worth like maxing out your skills. I will say that the mage class does seem a little broken. If you realize how to use it early on, it does seem a little broken. But that's just me. I learned how to use it early on and realized that I can be a little broken with it. Especially if I have like a tank and another support with me. It seems kind of nice. But that's just me. You can also have 2 accessories equipped. One of the accessories you should always have equipped, and you can buy this at yes, this is me giving you a little tip, at the general store, which is where you buy all of your seeds and stuff, which you won't really need to buy seeds. Another tip, do not buy seeds. Maybe buy a tree or 2, but don't buy seeds. You might need to buy a tree or 2, not necessarily, is because you will get a ton of seeds early game. Like, you might need to buy them later game, but early game you don't necessarily need to buy them because you will get them if you're doing the side quests. They are rewards for side quests. Along with the money you get, your rewards are seeds, guys. So you will get like a ton of seeds and be like, what do I do with these? I don't have anywhere to plant them. Trust me, I'm aware. I didn't know this the first time I played it through. First time I was playing it, until my hard drive crashed and I had to start over. But, yeah, just like, don't hoard seeds. You're not going to need them. But the rings are also sold at the general store. Buy the resistance rings because you need them for the final boss. You're going to need at least if it's the fire ring for the first dungeon, it's like the wind ring for like the second dungeon. So it's like the water ring for the third dungeon. It's like I think it's the ice ring for the third dungeon. And trust me, it's just how it is, and you will take like half damage on all of the attacks you get against you. It is totally worth it. It's like 500 Grilla, because Grilla is the money, but it's worth it to have those rings. What else? Yes. So after you beat each dungeon, you will get a fairy, a great fairy. Quote unquote great fairy. You will get them, you get to name them. They're very adorable. They're also the only people that are voiced in the game when you leave and enter your farm. And sometimes their voices are a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie. Some of their voices I like, some of their voices I don't. And they swap out voices depending, like if you have more than one fairy. But you'll get this little book in your house, and it's their requests. And you should do these requests because, as you see this person, they named their fairy fire Garnet. They have 3 to go until they get a present from her. Their present is going to be a fermenting barrel recipe and the flour mill recipe. And when it's highlighted, which means it's it's been fulfilled, you just click on it. And this is how you essentially get a bunch of your makers. You'll get, I know from the Earth one, Earth/Ice one, totally the Earth one, you get your hammer. You get your hammer upgrades. They do help out on the farm, actually. And by help out on the farm, I mean, this is how you get, like, boosts to, like, your watering, your hoeing ability, your hammer, your harvesting ability, that kind of stuff. That's how you get all that stuff, is by these fairies. How you get more makers and all of that stuff, you also get it through these fairies. And doing these requests. So it is paramount that you do these requests. And a lot of them are literally just going to be like, harvest this, harvest that, harvest X amount of this, kill this thing, kill that thing. For one of them, it's like, kill the fears. Which is a kind of like mini bosses that are all around dungeons. They're normally classed like 5 or 6 levels above what you should be in the game for the dungeon, which is not that hard to get, you know, if you just run around and like do some dungeon runs. It's not that hard, because a lot of times you're going to need materials from different dungeons anyways. So doing some dungeon runs in different dungeons just so you can level is like recommended, oddly enough. Especially because later dungeons, you're going to actually have to kill fears to advance in dungeons. So dungeon runs is highly recommended, especially early game. Let me show you what it's not a very good battle screen, but it's the best one I could find. So this is just like what the battle screen generally looks like, so it's not the best one, but like, so they're fighting a fear, so the fears gauge is up here. This is your break limit up here. This is different damages here. This is the mini map here. This is the time in game, date in game. This is your just basic attack right here. This is your attack. This is if like you have like healing stuff like potions, or well, not potions, food I should say, because you heal with food in the game. So keep that in mind, you heal with food. So this is your food. These are your different special abilities here. These are your teammates here. You can always have 2 teammates. This is you. This is your stamina bar. This is your stomach meter. So if this is full, you cannot eat any food. So keep that in mind. If your stomach meter is full, you cannot eat any food, which means you cannot heal. But yeah, if your stomach meter is emptying, your stamina will go up constantly. So just keep in mind where your stomach meter is, and like how, if your food takes up so much of your stomach meter, keep that in mind during boss fights. Because that can be detrimental. And then I want to show you guys, what some of these maps look like. So these are just some of the maps of what the game looks like in the like over screen when you're on the map. So as you can see, the map is very beautiful. It is so beautiful. The game itself is beautiful as well. Even on the Switch, it runs pretty decent. It's pretty beautiful. And you've probably noticed this like little weird bunny looking thing. He travels pretty fast on the map, a lot faster than you walking. He costs $4 grand, and his upgrades each cost, I don't even remember. They're expensive, but totally worth it, because he can eventually dig and he can eventually swim. The digging part though will get you into just like hidden caves and get you some just nice little things. So totally worth it. Also, try and put like everything you get into like juice makers and jam makers, because sometimes you'll get juice and or jam and you wouldn't know that you would get that stuff. That's just so you know, because you may not realize that. About the game. But yeah. The game itself is overall just, let me go back to just like the title screen. There's so many pictures for this game. There we go. There we go. But yeah, the game itself is overall, it's super fun. It's nice to see a more, I guess, more mature take on a farming sim game that is aimed towards more adult audiences that grew up with, you know, the Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons and Rune Factory games, you know. So this is definitely aimed towards, you know, the more mature audiences that can deal with a, you know, not just lighthearted story. We can deal with the more depressing topics that this deals with. Like I said, I won't get into it. I'll leave that for you guys to experience, but get ready for definitely some sad feels and maybe even some tears with this one, guys. But the game is, you know, the normal price point of a game, so, you know, $50-$60. And if you're not in farming sims, obviously this might not be a game for you, but if you're into RPGs, I would recommend giving it a try. I really would, because if you don't like the farming sim aspect, you only have to do a little bit of it, and then you can just spend most of your time like doing like dungeon runs and stuff, honestly, and just like immersing yourself in the story. So yeah. So there's like those aspects. And like I said, I generally enjoyed the game. Of course it is, you know, you are the chosen one. You do meet the harvest goddess. I guess that's what you would call the person you meet that like originally wakes you up before Cress. You do meet her often. Excuse me. You do meet her often. And like I said, my only detriment would be that you know, the game not having voices and then the random sudden voices of the fairies when you're leaving and coming to your farm is kind of creepy and kind of an issue. And there is no way to turn them off, by the way. Just so you know. And of course your characters are voiced in battle, and that's it. And I can understand, like, there might have been an issue of actually getting things voiced, but I would have preferred if they would have went for all voices or no voices. So for that, I give this game a 4.5 out of 5. And I hope you guys enjoyed the review. So I will see you guys next time.